Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And let's just get right into this review. So this reunion started off the same way all the reunions start off, which is the girls being backstage, talking amongst each other about who they have beef with and who they're cool with. And that's fine with me, except the fact that they took way too much time on this. Like, we want to see the good stuff, like what happens when they get on stage. We don't want to see too much backstage stuff that's going on. But they did do a good job, in my opinion, of picking who the host was going to be for this season, because look, Janisha is obviously the main host. She hosts all the Baddies reunions, but they ended up casting Saucy Santana as the co-host for this reunion. And at first I didn't know how to feel about that, but because he actually watched the season, so he was knowledgeable about everything that went down, and he was asking all the right questions and holding people accountable on stage, I actually really enjoyed him being a host. Despite Mariahlynn, Biggie, and I think one other person saying that he wasn't a good host, I actually thought that he did a really good job. Because I always thought that it was pointless to have somebody host a reunion for a show that they did not watch, because they don't know the right questions to ask and they don't know what happened. But Bobby was also there. He was more of a background person. He was just holding the microphone and talking. Sometimes he mostly stayed in the crowd in the audience, but I think that he did pretty well too. Now, they end up bringing out some of the girls first. They didn't bring everybody out at the same time because they knew that it would be complete and utter chaos to do so. So they ended up bringing out Natalie, Scotty, Mariahlynn, Jayla, Sapphire, Biggie, Tasiki, Callie, and Meatball first. And Saucy Santana immediately started questioning Jayla about the way that she reacted to Gretchen saying the N-word, not saying that she was wrong for being upset that Gretchen was saying the N-word, because she had a reason to have a problem with that. However, Saucy Santana made sure to point out that just recently, Mariahlynn was recorded saying the N-word. I think she was in a car or something, but she definitely said it and other people saw it. And so he wanted to know why Jayla said something to Gretchen for saying the N-word, but she hasn't said anything to Mariahlynn for saying it. And he also made sure to point out that when Mariahlynn was on Love and Hip Hop, she also said the N-word a few times as well. So Jayla ends up addressing Mariahlynn and tells her that she's not going to fight her, but that she does feel some type of way that Mariahlynn has said the N-word, because she's on a cast full of black women that she calls her friends. And so because they feel like it's disrespectful for Mariahlynn to say it, she doesn't feel like Mariahlynn should even feel comfortable saying it. And Mariahlynn did apologize, and she said that, you know, she has black people in her family and her friends, and she knows that it's not right for her to say it. So maybe that's the reason why Jayla and everybody else didn't pop off on Mariahlynn the way that they did Gretchen, because Gretchen kind of wasn't apologetic at first. She said that she didn't care. Maybe it was because she was mad when they told her about herself when she said it, but Mariahlynn was a little bit more understanding and apologetic, so maybe that's why they didn't pop off. However, I feel like Jayla should have kept the same energy for Mariahlynn that she had for Gretchen, because everybody tried to fight Gretchen the first time she said it, and I feel like if they have a problem with her saying it, they should have an issue with Mariahlynn saying it as well. Janisha kind of got on my nerves a little bit though, because while Saucy Santana was trying to have the conversations and asking the questions that we all wanted answers to, she kind of shut down the whole conversation about Gretchen because Gretchen wasn't on stage yet. And yes, I understand that she wants Gretchen to be there when they talk about that, but Jayla is on stage and we can at least get her perspective on why she went off on Gretchen the way she did and not Mariahlynn. But Bianca ends up coming on stage, and the crowd was kind of booing her a little bit, which I was confused about, because to me, Bianca really didn't do anything wrong this season, except spitting on Sapphire. I think that was wrong because I don't like that. But I forgot to mention that, yes, they did have a live crowd this time, and I wasn't really feeling it that much. I wish they kind of would have just been quiet a little bit more, because they were telling people to fight, and they were booing people and stuff like that. That was kind of getting on my nerves a little bit, so I kind of hope they don't do that next time. But they end up showing the clip of Bianca first coming on the show and how she immediately went after Sapphire, and she explains that the reason why she went after Sapphire is because she wasn't trying to be on the show in the first place. It was Mariahlynn that was saying that she wishes she was on the show and wanted to go with her to the casting, and so she ended up getting on the show specifically to defend Mariahlynn, because Mariah was telling her that she didn't like the way that Sapphire and Sukihana did her when they were in Jamaica. So her point on coming on the show was to stand 10 toes down for Mariahlynn. And I mean, that's exactly what she did. And I thought that Sapphire and Bianca was going to end up getting into it again, but Sapphire made it very clear that she actually ended up seeing the text messages that Mariahlynn was sending to Bianca. That shows that she didn't actually tell Bianca that she didn't have an issue with Sapphire. She actually told Bianca that she didn't know if her and Sapphire was going to end up getting into it again when she got on this season of the show, even though her and Sapphire ended up squashing their beef. So Sapphire really started questioning Mariahlynn because now she's feeling like Mariahlynn was being fake the whole season. And then Sapphire ended up mentioning something about Mariahlynn talking about Tasiki in text messages. And as soon as Tasiki's name came up, that's when Mariahlynn ended up jumping up and trying to plead her case, saying that those were fake text messages. And look, do I think the text messages are fake? No, I think that she was just scared for Tasiki to want to fight her. So that's the reason why she jumped up and tried to clear that up really quick. But while Mariahlynn was up trying to clear that up, Bianca came out of nowhere and she ended up fighting Mariahlynn. So the two of them are fighting with each other. And look, everybody was saying that Bianca really couldn't fight this season, and that's fair. I don't think that she did that well this season either. However, at this reunion, she definitely took over the fight that she had with Mariahlynn to the point where Mariahlynn was bleeding above her eye. So Mariahlynn ends up going backstage after the fight between her and Bianca gets broken up, and she's yelling at security, telling them not to follow her and don't follow her with cameras. And then all of a sudden she comes back on stage. Her wig is off at this point. Her face is all red, and then she has a cut above her eye that's bleeding, and she wants to fight Bianca again. So they start fighting again and again. In my opinion, Bianca ended up taking over that fight. So to me, Mariahlynn lost. Now, a lot of people were talking about how Tasiki just sat there and she didn't get up and try to defend Mariahlynn when Bianca was fighting her. However, I don't think that Tasiki needed to get up because it was a one-on-one fight. I can see if somebody else tried to jump in the fight between Bianca and Mariahlynn on Bianca's behalf, then she could have jumped in to help Mariahlynn. But because it was one-on-one, I didn't really feel like it was necessary for Tasiki to jump in. However, I'm not oblivious to the fact that every time Mariahlynn gets into something, Tasiki never has her back. However, I have to say again that Tasiki never asked Mariahlynn to have her back and jump in any of her fights. Mariahlynn was just doing that because she was trying to get on Tasiki's good side. And after the fight was over, Mariahlynn is yelling at production in the back, saying that they allowed Bianca to sneak her, and she started flipping out, saying that they wasn't going to get another season out of her, and she ended up leaving the reunion. I don't think anybody really cared that she left the reunion though, because Saucy Santana called her out, and then she ended up getting into it with Bianca. So really, that's all we needed to see of Mariahlynn at this reunion. Now, people were so hell-bent about Tasiki not jumping up to have Mariahlynn's back, but backstage before the reunion began, Biggie told Anna, Tasiki, and Mariahlynn that she would have all of their backs if they got into it with somebody on stage. And when Mariahlynn ended up getting into it with Bianca, Biggie was over there with the crowd laughing with everybody else. So to me, she wasn't really being a friend either, like she said she was going to. And I'm glad that Saucy Santana actually ended up calling out Biggie at this reunion, because it seemed like Saucy Santana was actually glad to see Bianca put her hands on Mariahlynn, because Mariahlynn was kind of orchestrating everybody going against Bianca this season, and he called her out for that, and he called everybody out for that, because he said that he felt like everybody was ganging up on Bianca this season. And I agree with him. I think that people did gang up on her, especially that day that they went ATV riding. Mariahlynn spearheaded that because she was mad that she got beat up by Asian Doll and Bianca didn't do anything. And so Saucy Santana ends up bringing that up, and he tells Biggie that she was the one that swung on Bianca, and Biggie clarified that she didn't swing on Bianca, which she didn't. She didn't swing on Bianca, but she was being a bully, and she ran over there and she snatched the goggles off of Bianca's face, and she tried to make an excuse that her and somebody else in the cast was saying that the goggles were really nice, and that's the reason why she snatched them off Bianca's head. But no, girl, you snatched them off because you were trying to act like a bully. Now, they very briefly talked about the short beef that Callie and Natalie ended up having, because Callie said that she felt like people were just automatically having a problem with her when she came on the show, but really she came in really hot, to be honest with you. And Natalie ended up bringing up the tweet or whatever that, you know, Callie posted about trying to take Natalie's place. So they talked about that for a little bit. Callie admitted where she was wrong, Natalie admitted where she was wrong, and they kind of squashed it at that, which I think is fine, because honestly, the beef between Natalie and Callie didn't last long enough for them to really spend too much time talking about. Now, Biggie ends up deciding to address Jayla and Natalie about the beef that she ended up having with Jayla at the very beginning of this season, because Natalie and Jayla ended up doing a live stream on Instagram, I think, and somebody in the comment section asked them who they thought won the fight between Rolly and Biggie. And Jayla did not want to answer the question because she felt like it was messy, but Natalie started laughing and told Jayla that she knew who won the fight, so just answer the question. And Jayla said that she felt like Rolly won the fight, and the two of them started laughing. And obviously Biggie took offense to this because she felt like they were making fun of her. So she ended up getting on social media and threatening to slap Jayla the next time she saw her. So when Jayla ended up seeing Biggie at the beginning of this season, she ended up confronting her, and the two of them got into a few fights this season. And one time Jayla ended up hitting Biggie in the face and Biggie started crying. So they ended up addressing that at this reunion. And Biggie ends up admitting that her feelings were hurt by Natalie mainly, and that she really didn't have a problem with Jayla. Her beef was really with Natalie, but because Natalie was her boss, she decided to go after Jayla. So Jayla starts going off a little bit, and to me, rightfully so, because if Biggie had a problem with Natalie, then she should have threatened to slap Natalie. I understand that Natalie's her boss, but if her beef wasn't with Jayla and it was with Natalie, and she wasn't going to say anything to Natalie, then she shouldn't have said anything to Jayla either. So to me, Jayla was justified in the amount of times that she ended up fighting Biggie this season. Now, Jayla said that she was going to fight Biggie again at this reunion. Like, she was ready to fight her again because they were kind of having a little bit of a heated back and forth. And Saucy Santana did kind of question Jayla a little bit and ask her why she wants to fight Biggie again when the last time she tried to fight her, Biggie was crying. But basically, Jayla really said that she doesn't care. And once again, I like that Saucy Santana ended up holding Biggie accountable, because he said to Biggie that she was quick to cry when Jayla wanted to fight her, but she was jumping in everybody else's fights this season. And that's true. Whenever somebody confronts Biggie or she gets into it with somebody, she's crying, saying that people are setting her up and everybody's ganging up on her and everybody's acting like a bully. But the second she joins in when another girl's getting bullied, or she jumps into a fight where somebody else is fighting, she feels like it's justified and nobody should say anything to her for it. So I'm glad Saucy Santana called her out a couple of times at this reunion, which is probably one of the reasons why she was one of the people who said that he was not a good host. So now it's time for Tommy to come on stage, and Janisha is calling Tommy to come out, but Tommy is too busy backstage going back and forth with Bobby. Now, I don't really know what Bobby did to Tommy. Maybe he said something that rubbed her the wrong way or made her feel some type of way, but she started going off on him like for a really long time instead of going out on stage. And to me, it was kind of funny a little bit, because I'm like, what the hell is going on between the two of them? And Bobby looked really scared to go at it with Tommy. Now, eventually, Tommy ended up going on stage, and she actually acted really mature. I don't know if it's because she didn't feel like fighting anybody or whatnot, but she definitely was nice to everybody on stage, including Natalie, because she actually ended up giving Natalie a hug, and she said that the two of them have made a lot of money together. So look, even though the two of them don't like each other and they're frenemies, they are making money together because people want to see the two of them beefing with each other. So to me, they're doing what they have to do to get the bag, and that's exactly what they're going to keep continuing to do, because Tommy was listed as somebody who was going to make an appearance on Baddies Midwest as well. But as the hosts are calling the next two girls, which is Tinkerbella and Slim Too Bad, onto the stage, that's when Tommy starts trying to swing on Bobby again. And look, I'm sorry, I was laughing, okay? Because I was too focused on Tommy trying to fight Bobby that I didn't even see Tinkerbella and Meatball getting ready to fight. So I had to rewind that part, because the situation between Tommy and Bobby to me was a lot more entertaining. Now, Tinkerbella and Slim Too Bad end up joining the rest of the cast on stage, but as soon as Tinkerbella comes out, she has her hair braided up, she has on shorts, sneakers, and a tank top, so she's ready to fight, obviously, and she immediately tells Meatball to get up so that the two of them can fight. So the two of them start fighting with each other, and look, it was not a good fight to watch between the two of them, in my opinion, because I just feel like Meatball can't really fight that well, and then Tinkerbella swings with her head down, so to me, it wasn't really a good fight to watch. I didn't think that they were gonna fight, because at the end of the day, at the end of the season, the very last episode, Tinkerbella was the one who wanted Meatball to get a Baddies chain, and she ended up putting the chain on Meatball. So I really wasn't expecting too much for the two of them to get into a fight, but maybe because they probably had a back and forth on social media after the season finished filming, because that's where a lot of the beef is coming from at the reunion as well. But I think Meatball ended up saying something to Slim Too Bad, and then the two of them ended up getting into a fight, which it was a really slow fight, and it was taking too long to start, and it wasn't really good to me. Like, I'm sorry, but it wasn't really a good fight between Slim Too Bad and Meatball. Meatball. But then at the very end of this reunion, Jayla ends up jumping up ready to fight Meatball, and I was confused as to what their beef was. Did they have some type of back and forth on social media or something? Because the last time I saw the two of them get into something was when Meatball was trying to confront Jayla about bullying Biggie, but they squashed that and they were fine the entire season. So I'm confused as to why they were fighting at the reunion. So if any of you know why the two of them ended up getting into a fight at the reunion, let me know down in the comment section, because I was completely confused by that. But that fight between Jayla and Meatball was kind of quick and it really didn't go anywhere. But then Tinkerbella and Meatball start fighting with each other again, and obviously it wasn't really a good fight, but they ended up falling into the couch, and then that's when Meatball ended up taking over the fight, because obviously she was on top of Tinkerbella while they were on the couch. So that was the end of part 1 of the Baddies Caribbean Reunion, and I'm gonna say this was actually a really good part 1 to the reunion. Like, this is their best reunion yet, in my opinion. Like, to me, they did a good job this time, but I'm interested to see what happens in next week's reunion. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies Caribbean. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all, and until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.